A hero is born among 100, a wise man is found among 1,000, but an accomplished one might not be found even among 100,000 men. Plato. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words but to live by them. John F. Kennedy. My heroes are those who risk their lives every day to protect our world and make it a better place. Police, firefighters, and members of our armed forces. Sidney Sheldon. Honor to the soldier and sailor everywhere, who bravely bears his country's cause. Honor, also, to the citizen who cares for his brother in the field and serves, as he best can, the same cause. Abraham Lincoln. A hero is one who knows how to hang on 1 minute longer. Novalis. A hero cannot be a hero unless in a heroic world. Nathaniel Hawthorne. On September 11, 2001, thousands of first responders heroically rushed to the scene and saved tens of thousands of lives. More than 400 of those first responders did not make it out alive. In rushing into those burning buildings, not one of them asked, "What God do you pray to? What beliefs do you hold?" Michael Bloomberg. I'm extremely grateful to all the first responders, veterans, and their families for all their sacrifices. Teokyle. Real heroes don't wear capes. Real superheroes wear uniforms and badges and stethoscopes. Real superheroes are members of our military, law enforcement, and first responders. Pretend superheroes wear capes. Dean Cain. There are certain people who react well in life-threatening situations, and our military and our law enforcement, and our first responders tend to be those types of folks. Dean Cain. First responders will be on the front lines if there is a terrorist attack in our communities, and we must provide them with the tools they need to do their difficult jobs. Ed Markey. Don't forget, you are the hero of your own story. Greg Boyle. It doesn't take a hero to order men into battle. It takes a hero to be one of those men who goes into battle. Norman Schwarzkopf. For one thing, I don't think that anybody in any war thinks of themselves as a hero. Steven Spielberg. Dr. Martin Luther King is not a black hero. He is an American hero. Morgan Freeman. What I've noticed is not only in the military but in the first responders community, that when you reach out your hand to help one of them, they almost always grab your hand with only one of theirs, because they're using their other hand to reach behind them and pull up somebody else with them. Teokyle. Chicago Fire has been a wonderful outlet for me. We're thrown into the gritty streets of Chicago working among actual first responders. They're a wonderful bunch, and the sense of community among Midwesterners is very similar to Australians. Jesse Spencer. It's so important to talk to the first responders. Ruth Baldwin. Connecticut's first responders and defense workers work every day to help us achieve these goals. Christopher Dodd. Whether it's police officers, firefighters, first responders, or 911 dispatchers, many dedicated Americans work long hours, and often in difficult conditions, to make sure that when someone is in need, they can help. Ajit Pai. The men and women who serve this great nation, whether they are stationed in Iraq, Fort Riley, or the Korean Peninsula, or they serve us at home as our community first responders, serve because they believe in America. Kathleen Sebelius. As we try to compete in this global marketplace, we need to rebuild our infrastructure. We need to rebuild our schools. We need to make sure that teachers and first responders and veterans who are coming home from serving our country so proudly have jobs waiting for them. Valerie Jarrett. In modern warfare, journalists are among the first responders, seeking out truth in the turmoil and wreckage, wherever it takes them. Nancy Gibbs. Quite simply, when DC Metro riders, often the first to see a problem developing, try to notify first responders, they frequently are unable to receive a signal strong enough to make a simple call to 911 to report the emergency. Michael O'Reilly. Police officers, firefighters, EMTs, they are all out there every single day, literally just a phone call away for anyone who needs them. Doreen Cronin. Be prepared. The meaning of the motto is that a scout must prepare himself by previous thinking out and practicing how to act on any accident or emergency so that he is never taken by surprise. Robert Baden-Powell. The most basic job of an EMT is to notice things and then wonder about them. Tom Dick. You have to keep the body going until the brain and the heart recover enough to go on their own. Joe Connolly. There is just no substitute for seeing a disaster area firsthand and getting the chance to speak in person to victims and responders. Chris Murphy. We need strong public health institutions to respond to any challenge. We need to deal with critical infrastructure. The reality is that very little money has flowed to communities to help our first responders, to help our hospitals, to help the public health infrastructure. Bob Menendez. We cannot watch another family lose everything, risking their lives and the lives of the first responders sent to rescue them because the flood insurance program's seal of government approval fooled them into thinking they were safe. That's more than wrong, it's immoral. Jeb Hensarling. We don't think about the first responders until we need them. Like I don't unconsciously think every day about these people and their lives, but that is what they are doing. Oliver Stark. I extend my deepest gratitude to our armed forces and first responders serving both at home and abroad in the war against terrorism. John Doolittle. When you first become an EMT, you are extremely gung-ho, with a sense that you save lives. You are the antidote to all of life's miseries. You make people rise from the dead. But when you are an EMT for a length of time, you come to the grim reality that the number of lives that you actually save is small. You stabilize people until they get to the hospital. You make sure they can breathe and don't bleed to death and nothing more. Michael Stern. No hero is mortal till he dies. W.H. Auden. The hero is never the star of the story. Marilyn Manson. There is no higher honor than to be given the responsibility to care for another human being. Richard K. Schachtner. Next to creating a life, the finest thing a man can do is save one. Abraham Lincoln. I have this dream that the first responders to 911 calls will not be law enforcement personnel but robots. Robots can put eyes and ears on the scene much faster than you can with policemen or women. Vijay Kumar. Nest strongly supports the usage of space to provide benefits to people living on the Earth. The Iridium satellites enable first responders to communicate rapidly during an emergency anywhere in the world. Bruce Pittman. From the Bush administration to the 9/11 Commission, there is an urgent and universally recognized need to change the broken formula through which Homeland Security grant money currently is allocated to our first responders. Vito Fossella. Playing a cop on TV and working closely with actual cops on set, I do think the media does a disservice to our first responders. Jesse Lee Sawford. The National Guard has served America as both a wartime force and the first military responders in times of domestic crisis. Hundreds of times each year, the nation governors call upon their Guard troops to respond to fires, floods, hurricanes, and other natural disasters. Russell Honore. Answer the urgent call. Help when tragedy strikes. And do it for free. Isabella Coldras. Every day, first responders put their own lives on the line to ensure our safety. The least we can do is make sure they have the tools to protect and serve their communities. Joe Lieberman. You can't get through a lot of doors unless you are at least perceived as an EMS professional. Skip Kirkwood. The Gulf waterkeepers are our first line of defense against the BP oil disaster. Their incredible knowledge of the marshes, wetlands, beaches, and intercoastal waters make them invaluable first responders. Their commitment makes them critical and effective community leaders. Sophie B. Hawkins. I see artists as the first responders. And when the proverbial crap hits the fan, we are there to be of service, to tell the story, to bring a balm, to soothe, to provide catharsis. You know, not to make our work any more important or less important, but just that there is great importance to it. Elizabeth Marvel. In the midst of the heartbreak and wreckage of 9/11, the world also witnessed what is America's greatest strength. Firefighters, nurses, police officers, first responders, and local residents worked around the clock to rescue and care for those injured. Dan Coates.